mentioned earlier when we were talking during a break about a veteran who was suffering from agoraphobia and a process that you went through with Kathey and the veteran to work through that enormous problem. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was a call. The veteran actually had called himself, which doesn't always happen. Many times it's a family member that initiates the contact, but this was a veteran that had done it. And we started building a rapport on the telephone. So I said, can I come out and see you? And it was one of those situations like, really, you're going to come see me? And I'm like, yes. So I went out and I would meet him, and we'd sit on the trunk or the tailgate of my truck and start building that rapport in an environment where he felt safe. So as he started feeling safe with me, then I started saying, listen, I have a person named Kathey that I think would really do you good. It's very close to your house. In fact, I think you can look out the window and see the place. So once we got him going over there and going to that service, Kathey worked a lot of stuff with him. He's now in training, isn't he? Or got a job, I can't remember. We've worked with quite a few people now, so it's hard to remember every specific thing. But another person that we had worked with, a female veteran, a guard at a facility here, a correctional facility. And she found herself provoking the most violent people in the jail. And she asked her why. She's like, I don't know, just feel like arguing with them and getting some frustration out, And as far as I know, she's come a long way. We've worked with folks things that you don't think of. All you think of is wartime, you think of combat. We have veterans that are up at Dover Air Force Base right now. Every time you hear of somebody being killed in action, they're coming to Dover Air Force Base, and there's some veteran or some service member that's dealing with that body, dealing with that family, has to present the body to the family. That's very traumatizing and very hard to do when you're giving bad news to all these other people. So it's not always something that's happening to you. And another thing I wanted to mention was when you talked about the guilt, there's a lot of survivor guilt. And you can be in a fire battle and some fellow servicemen beside you, around you, end up being killed or hurt very severely, and all of a sudden you're looking down and there's nothing wrong with you, and you're like, man, why did I survive this? There's a lot of that, and that's what makes it hard for those folks to access the help, because they almost feel like they don't deserve it, and they're the most deserving people of all.
And I'd like to say at this point that one of the things that I find very helpful is to, at some point, get them engaged with other veterans. We do, after we've done some individual work and gotten them to a place where they can even talk about this stuff, then we involve them in a group process where they're able to talk with other veterans about common experiences. I will share, too, that as a private provider who does not work for the VA or has not served in the service directly, many patients have shared with me that that was very helpful to be able to talk to someone who was not service related, that for whatever reason they felt that they were freer to talk to me about those things, that they felt like they needed to be more guarded if they were talking in service, even though I know there's this new recent permission for them to be able to do that. So I'm just letting you know that that's been some feedback that I've gotten. The other thing that I would share with you that has been an obstacle of sorts is that in my work with them, the agreement that I have, because they do have VA benefits, is that I will work with them until such time as there is a counselor available in the VA. And sometimes that takes months, if not a year, and by then they've established a strong relationship, and it's hard. I let them know immediately that when they come in that is the expectation, so that's always there, and I remind them of that, and we try to transition as best we can. But I did want to say that sometimes that's difficult for them. Sometimes they've, again, built that relationship and don't want to just sort of end and start over.
Before we close, I just wanted to ask one more question of each of you, and then if you could leave folks out there who either are veterans suffering from PTSD, or family members or friends of veterans who are suffering from PTSD, what would you say to those people right now is the most important thing they need to think about and to do right now about that situation?
get help. Get help. If the veteran won't do it themselves, family members, you need to call someone. Maryland's Commitment to Veterans, that's why we exist. 1-877-770-4801. Anybody can call, a friend, a family member, tell us what's going on. We can call you, we'll do an assessment, we'll see if we can get out and talk to the veteran. The main thing is to make them aware of the services that are out there for them. And then, once they're aware of it, then we need to help them to feel comfortable to get to those services.
Kathey, what would you say is the most important thing?
Well, I would ditto get help, and also add to that help is available. There are people out there to serve you. I am at Eastern Shore Psychological Services. We have locations in Easton, Salisbury, and Princess Anne. There is help available. I also want to add, I'm glad you said family members, because we don't just treat veterans, we treat dependents and we treat families as well. And I have a number of families and spousal dependents that I work with as well.
And along those lines, could you talk a little bit about the issues that family members face? We really haven't developed that quite yet. Could you talk a little bit about that for our audience so they understand the issues that family members may run into dealing with this issue as well?
Sure, and probably the biggest issue I run into, both with the spouses as well as with the children, is again, not having a support network that understands what they're going through, that can't really relate to having your spouse leave for long or extended periods of time, and especially if they are somewhere where their life is being endangered every day. We have children who are, coming in and wondering if they'll get to see Daddy again, and not on a Skype, but really there.
Especially on today's types of deployments, there's much more guard out there and reserve now. So if you were used to living on a base and you were used to being around military families and you had a support network of your best friend's wife and this and that, it's much easier to deal with.
Absolutely.
When you're in the guard, Dad used to go away, Mom used to go away once every 1 weekend a month, and then all of a sudden they're being deployed to Iraq or they're being deployed to Afghanistan. It's very hard to get a support network when you're curled out in the middle of Deal Island. Especially in the rural areas, it's very difficult because you don't have any of your battle buddies with you. You may know 2 people that were deployed 3 towns away. It's very difficult to find someone to talk to. So the rural veteran is where we really need to spend a lot of time right now, and that's why we have the programs like we're having here today.
Especially when in rural areas, as you point out, resources are slim and none, as Jerry pointed out in the past.
As he says, slim left hand.
That's right. We're talking about Jerry Black, who
runs Forbes Hall, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Alfred, could you give us your final thought on the most important thing a veteran in your position where you found yourself a year ago needs to think about?
Yeah, do it, because I would probably be dead by now. The whiskey about did me.
So acting on your own accord, getting help, can be a very life-saving experience. And there is hope around the corner.
Yeah, you just got to do it.
You got to take that first step.
I've come a long ways in a year.
And that's important for people to know, because there is hope out there and there is help out there. And as Alfred has pointed out, he was at one point living out in the woods, and today here he stands.
Be patient, it takes time.
Work it one day at a time, one step at a time. Kathey, before we go, could you just give your phone number so folks know where they can reach you?
Absolutely. The phone number is 410-334-6961. 410-334-6961.
I'd like to thank, did you have a final?
I was just going to say Maryland's Commitment to Veterans, our number you can call, it's the 24/7 877 number. It's staffed the whole time. Please call us with any veterans needs that you know.
I want to thank all 3 of you, Mike, Alfred, and Kathey, for coming on. And Alfred, I want to thank you for sharing with us, because I know that's the hardest job of all.
Yeah, difficult.
And we really appreciate it, because I know that takes good luck to you. So, wish you all the best.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, on behalf of VETS TV, I'm Jared Levinson, and I thank you for watching, and we hope to see you again on our next broadcast, when I'll be joined once again by my partner in crime, Bill Uran. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.